Thank you for joining us. In this video segment, we're going to talk a little bit about identifying what parts are by what names on an air compressor. Oftentimes when you get the guys on the phone from the air compressor company, they're going to ask you about the names of certain parts. We're going to spend a little time going around the compressor, pointing out some parts and letting you know what we call them. So when we're perhaps talking on the telephone, we can all have a little bit more of an understanding about what we're dealing with. I'm going to take some close-up shots of these and point them out to you. And again, if you have any questions, please call the air compressor company at 330 area code number 536-9665. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go over this K-style pump compressor. I think you'll find that even though there are several different varieties of machines available to you today, that all of the components we're talking about are very similar. We're simply just dealing with different tank configurations, different sizes of pump. So since we've got this one on the counter, that's what we're going to use, and I'm just going to go over a few things here with you. Okay, we're going to start here with the pilot valve. Basically what we're looking at, this is the pilot valve, and it is used, these nuts here on the end control when the pressure kicks in and kicks out, as far as when the pump builds pressure and then stops making pressure for you. It's very important that you not tamper with any of these screws. They're extremely sensitive to adjustment. So anytime you're performing maintenance on your compressor, you should be sure not to mess around with any of this, because if they get out of adjustment, we'll just get into where we might have to replace that for you. Up here what we've got is what we call a pressure switch. This controls the power on and power off to your electric motor. It's based on pressure. As you can see, this pressure switch is set to turn the power off at 125 psi, and we'll kick the power back on somewhere around 120. Should be about a 5-pound differential coming factory set. Obviously we've got some pressure gauges here. This little rascal is called a pop-off or a safety valve. If the compressor for any reason were to build excessive amounts of pressure, this is here as a safety to make sure that if things go in the wrong direction and we build too much pressure, this will open and allow the air to drain from your air reservoir. This is an air regulator, and as you can see, you have adjustment. You have a pressure gauge here on the side. Get a better shot of that. You've got a pressure gauge down in here, which shows the pressure that you're setting for the outbound side of the quick disconnect. So this is actually the pressure that goes out towards your tool or your machine, and in order to adjust the pressure, you pull up on the cap and turn right or left to increase or decrease your pressure, and then push it back down to set the pressure so this won't move on you. That's an air regulator. This device is called a check valve. This comes directly down from the air compressor pump itself. This is when the pump makes its pressurized air, it sends it down into the tank through a check valve. What this is designed to do is when the air compressor shuts off, this is designed to keep air from flowing backwards into the pump assembly. Here obviously we have what we refer to as a compressor pump, an after-cooler line, air filter assembly, oil sight glass, oil drain tube and standpipe, oil fill cap. This is an electric motor. This is a 2 horsepower, 230 volt electric motor. We've got basically on the side, here's where your wiring connections are. And here on the top you have your start capacitors, which help the electric motor pick up and run. Here's your identification tag with your model number and serial number for the machine. There's also another identification tag on the pump, which will give you the actual serial number of the pump. In most situations on a new compressor, these numbers are the same. If you experience a pump replacement at some point, these serial numbers can become different at that point. Here in the back behind the belt guard, you can see that we have a compressor flywheel. This is a motor pulley or sheave. Obviously our semi-pneumatic wheel kit. This is a tank set. We talked already briefly about our dual control selector switch. You turn this sideways for dual control, turn it straight up and down for start-stop operation. Pretty simple operation. And on this machine, we also have manual tank drain. There's one located on the base of each tank. I'm going to take a moment here and pause the tape. We're going to show you a couple of different tank drain designs.